Welcome everyone, it's the Crypto Lark. Super excited to have on the show today Yvonne from Yvonne on Tech. How's it going, man?
It's very good, very good. Good to be back. Good to be in touch again. We had a stream on my channel a few weeks back, so it's amazing to be talking to you again, Lark.
Yeah, I'm excited to be able to pick your brain today, because you got to ask a lot of the questions last time, so I'm excited to get to ask some of the questions today. And actually I wanted to start off with we're gonna be talking about all kinds of stuff from Bitcoin and rates and Ethereum and on down the line, but I want to start off the topic on privacy today because this has been such a
Sure.
hot topic recently. I mean, we saw recently in the United States, they're asking like WhatsApp to basically let the government into the conversation and to be able to come in and look at it and
Yes.
stuff like that. And we've seen this dystopian protest that's happening in Hong Kong. I mean, Hong Kong's like this super futuristic city anyway. And so we see what's going on there with people really using technology to fight back, facial recognition and privacy technology stuff. So can you just talk a little bit on, I guess, privacy and technology and how it's kind of coming together as kind of a double-edged sword even?
Yes, I think it's very interesting because if you look at the past 100 years, many authoritarian regimes have failed. And they have failed because they cannot get all the information needed in order to, for example, control prices, in order, for example, control the population. It's very difficult to control millions and millions of people. With technology, I feel that it is changing in many ways with AI, with face recognition, with machine learning, with pattern recognition. You can get information on anything. You can do analysis. You can really, really control the entire population much better. And it is seen in Asia a lot with China, with Hong Kong, especially with the fact that they can recognize you from billions of other people, your face. And as I tweeted a few days back, there is this interesting technology that people are using right now in Hong Kong in order to distort their faces. It's basically like a small projector they put on their on their heads, and this projector basically projects another face onto their face. Maybe you can kind of put it into this video because it looks super, super dystopian. These faces look very strange because they're basically projecting another face onto their own face, and you cannot recognize the person. So all of this face recognition, the cameras and everything, they don't work. So all in all, it is a very important thing that you mentioned. It is a double-edged sword, especially with AI, with computer vision, with everything that we're seeing developing. It can be used for good, but also it can be used to control people. And therefore, it's so important that we do have technologies that are open, borderless, such as Bitcoin, such as other cryptocurrencies, and that we build on top of that infrastructure. Because at the end of the day, if it is the case that a small group of people have access to AI, have access to all of these models, all of this data that they're training their AI with, it becomes very dystopian very quickly. And one of the reasons why, for example, China is so ahead in terms of AI research, but also in terms of actually AI products that work, is because they have collected so much data. They don't have GDPR like we have in Europe, where you cannot basically collect anything on anyone without their consent. They don't have the same privacy laws as in the US. And US doesn't even have that much privacy laws compared to Europe. And in Asia, you don't even, it's not even close to having any privacy at all. So all of the AI models that authorities have, that companies have, they have all data needed. For example, when it comes to ride sharing, I don't know how it is in New Zealand, but ride sharing in Sweden has become very, very big in terms of these electric scooters. Everyone is running around with electric scooters.
Yeah, everyone's got the scooters. Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, that was in China 10 years before in Europe. It became big in China. And so they have been collecting all of this data with, 1,000 times more people 10 years in the past. So they have so much data to go and train their models on. So it's really, really an advantage they have in terms of bad privacy laws, which in turn make it worse for the people, but it make it better for the authorities to collect information, to train models, and to basically use this technology to build a surveillance state.
It's terrifying because all this technology is incredibly exciting. We're talking about just breaking open all these barriers in terms of medicine and space travel and the future of technology and things we can't even imagine. And that's all super exciting, but it's freaking terrifying if it's in the hands of Facebook or the Chinese Communist Party or some other governments or authorities like that. It has to be decentralized. People have to be in charge of this stuff, not unaccountable governments.
And unfortunately, unfortunately, people are trading safety for freedom more and more, security for
Yeah.
freedom, and security for liberty. And it is, in many ways, I feel that it really started with ISIS, like the 2013-14, the worry that, you know, there's going to be a terrorist attack in your city. We did see a few in Europe, so people are very, very scared here. And I think it really started in like 10 years ago, approximately. But in the US, you had this trend even sooner with 9/11, and basically giving up all privacy in order to hopefully be a bit more safe. But it is very disproportionate, and unfortunately that is where the world is heading, that people are willing to give up their privacy for more safety.
It's really unfortunate, and there's always this thing that people say, like, oh, I don't have anything to hide, so I'm not really worried about my privacy and all that stuff. Like, that that is such BS, man. And that's why, honestly, I love privacy coins. I'm a big privacy coin advocate. I've got some of them. Let's just say that. For people who watch the channel probably know. But anyway, I'm very excited about the technology. You know, Monero is probably my favorite one. But I want to know from you. You know, you've got I think a very interesting insight on, you know, the technology behind it and stuff like that. So, I mean, looking at, you know, Monero's got ring signatures and confidential transactions, bulletproof, all that fun stuff. You know, we got Zcash, we have Beam as well. So, with Mimblewimble technology, of course, which one of these technologies interests you the most?
I would say all of them are interesting in their own ways. The good thing with Monero is that it is the most decentralized and trustless if you compare to a lot of other ones. So if you look at, for example, Zcash, the whole ZK snark scenario where you need to bootstrap the network, it is basically a trusted process that needs to happen and that needed to happen to bootstrap Zcash. So it is one of the disadvantages of ZK snarks, but they are evolving as well on that front. But to me, I find Monero the most interesting. But just like Fluffy Pony said on my show, that you should not trust it too much either. I mean, he even said that you should not try to do anything illegal with it, because there are companies right now collecting internet traffic that is encrypted. So your transactions that you do on Monero, they're probably collected somewhere. Somebody has them. Somebody has sniffed out that traffic. Right now, it is encrypted, and so there's no way to really see what you did and what you sent. But with time, you know, technology becomes better. We can break all the encryption algorithms. We can break all the cryptographic schemes. So it's just a question of time before it becomes public knowledge. So I think it is an important thing to keep in mind that privacy coins are only private in the short term. And here short term is maybe 10 years, maybe 15 years. And for some people, it's not short term. But if you look at on the broader picture, it is short term. So all in all, I think privacy coins are very interesting, but they will struggle a lot. I mean, we just recently have seen the basically massacre of privacy coins when it comes to exchanges. Liquidity will be an issue. And also, I think in one way, we haven't really seen a lot of adoption in places where we would expect the adoption. You look at, for example, all of these dark markets on the dark net, where people buying drugs. I mean, still in Bitcoin. That's interesting. It's still a lot in Bitcoin. And Bitcoin still is the leader in that space, although Bitcoin is not even close to Monero. So it's all about liquidity, I feel, in many ways. And if you look at liquidity, Monero is nowhere even close. And then Zcash and others, they're even further back. So I think, unfortunately, it will be difficult. It will be difficult, but it is an important technology that, you know, at the end of the day, if you really, really need privacy, there is a solution. There is a solution for transferring wealth and transferring funds with absolute privacy, at least in the coming 10, 15 years.
Yeah, it reminds me of actually something else Fluffy Pony said. I haven't had the privilege to talk to him yet, but I remember he posted something on Twitter. It was like, privacy you never get there. There's no there to get to. It's a constant thing. It just, as soon as you develop something that gets you one step ahead, well, the other guy develops something to catch up or get a step ahead of you. So it's this constant battle with, you know, governments and corporations and people like the guys behind Monero trying to keep everyone private, or as private as you can be. I think it'll be really interesting when the FATF brings the travel rule. Actually, if they brought the travel rule in, they're trying to enforce that now. And once actually countries start enforcing it, then Bitcoin's going to get a whole lot less anonymous really quickly. And then maybe we will see more enthusiasm for privacy coins, but then they're probably all going to get delisted. So
yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see the development. I don't really see exactly how it's going to be enforced, because crypto exchanges are global. I mean, many of them are in jurisdictions that are far away from the Western world. Seychelles, Mauritius. I mean, there are many of them. And BitMEX and BYBIT, I think, are both in Seychelles. So who knows really where Binance head office is? But they do have in Malta. They do have in the US as well. But like the real Binance head office, nobody knows that. I mean, I have guys writing to me because they need the head office of Binance for their tax report. So in many EU countries, you need to write, you know, I have money on this exchange, on this platform. Here is their address. Here is their contact. But there's no way to get that. You can only get like regional small offices. So nobody really knows where these guys are, and it's going to be very interesting. But I mean, at some level, there needs to be a new infrastructure for exchanges to transmit information to each other. So that if I have Binance, you have Kraken, I send you some Bitcoin from my Binance wallet to your Kraken wallet. Well, Binance needs to tell Kraken, okay, it's coming from Ivan to Lark. Here's some data about Ivan, and here's how we trust. So there needs to be a whole new protocol. I think in one way, regulators are creating a whole new multi-million, if not multi-billion-dollar industry, which is the crypto compliance. How do you make this whole industry compliant? And I mean, we can like it, we can dislike it, but it is what it is. It's gonna be that way.
That's it. I want to move the topic on a little bit to talking about Bitcoin. You said something interesting on Twitter the other day, which I agree with, and it was Bitcoin's creating a whole new social upper class. It's the biggest wealth transfer in history, with early adopters and entrepreneurs and innovators basically going to be rewarded immensely. Now, my question to you is, I love that comment. I totally agree. I think we're in such an exciting phase right now, but do you, because I know a lot of people out there look at Bitcoin and think, oh, it's $8,000 or $9,000, $10,000, depending on the day, right? And they think, oh, the opportunity's already gone. So do you think that there is still this massive opportunity here for cryptocurrencies to continue to create all of these, you know, future millionaires, for example?
Of course, of course. I mean, we just mentioned a new multi-billion industry being born in crypto compliance. And so when I'm talking about a new social upper class in terms of Bitcoin, I'm not only talking about, you know, you buy Bitcoin, you hodl to the moon. It's not only about that. It is a part of that because, I mean, we still have a long way to go, according to me, but it is also so many businesses, so many ideas, so much education needs to be done. I mean, for example, our academy, it is, you know, one of the most successful businesses I've done. We have 12,000 students sizing there and, you know, learning about smart contracts, about Bitcoin. And it's just, you know, one example where, you know, there would never be an opportunity for me to build such a big business, such a big online educational business in something else like finance or just normal programming, because it's swamped with people already. So what I'm saying here is that, yes, I mean, number one, investment, number two, adoption, but when you are adopter, you're basically an investor as well. Number three, just look at how many businesses are starting up here, how much need there is for different solutions, for compliance, for custody, for wallets, for UI, for new services. It's a lot. And then that was only the first part of the tweet. The second part of the tweet was also about the fact that if you are in crypto, you learn so much about everything. I mean, you learn so much about macroeconomy, how the Fed works, quantitative easing. You also learn how different countries think. I mean, I've traveled the world because of crypto. I've been in Asia, in US, in Europe, I mean, places I've never would have gone to if not for crypto. I would never go to Korea, for example, just to be there for 1 week in October, like I was now. It was because of crypto. I was there for 1 week right now, and I could meet people and see what they're doing. And you learn new cultures. You really get into this worldwide community of businesses, of people, of entrepreneurs, and you are pushed to learn new cultures if you are in crypto, if you want to be successful. Because look at Bitcoin, look at altcoins. A lot of liquidity, a lot of investments is actually from Asia. So for you to understand where we're heading, you need to be in Asia. And so I feel like people who are in crypto, they learn about macroeconomics, they learn about the world, they also learn about regulation, because obviously you buy a token, now there is a debate, is this a security or not a security? Then you hear Block 1 getting a settlement with the SEC for 24 million, and you think to yourself, how can it be that they only pay 24 million when they raised 4 billion? Then you start studying a bit more, you start learning, and then you also learn about the technology, because at the end of the day, if you don't know technology, you will be scammed in the space. It is so easy for people to scam you if you have no clue about technology. So it's like technology, economy, business, entrepreneurship, cultures, and also just how how technology is getting adopted, you know, a whole new revolution. It's everything. I really find it fascinating. I haven't seen anything like this ever before. Also, it's political. That is the thing. It's also a political movement. It's a monetary movement. It's a whole new thing when it comes to media as well. How media will be monetized. Basically, we're transforming each and every industry. It has never happened. I haven't seen anything like that.
It's incredibly exciting. I mean, crypto's made me a better person. Let's put it that way. But you learn so gosh darn much, and I would say to anyone out there, I mean, well, you just summed it up fantastically. I would say to anyone out there, like, get involved, man. Like, we're still so early in the industry, and there's just such a calling for such a wide range of people. Are you an accountant? Well, guess what? There's a lot of people who need to know how to do taxes for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. You know, are you a lawyer? Guess what? You're in demand. Are you a programmer? Yes. You're in demand. Are you a social media wizard? You're in demand. And it's super exciting that this giant industry is just happening. So I would encourage anyone out there, like, if you haven't been to like a conference or something like this yet, or a meetup in your local town, please get out, go to a meetup, meet like-minded people, go to a conference if you can find them. I mean, some of them are really expensive. That's true. Some of them cost a couple $1,000s. That's quite the damn investment, but not all of them. Definitely not all of them. Some of them are only like $100 or $200, or some of them are even free. So look around and you can get involved with that way.
And also, it's interesting that everyone who buys crypto always becomes a bit of a trader. You know, you become interested in charts. You start drawing triangles, and although most people fail at it miserably, it's still interesting that you know you still learn. You still learn that, hey, there is this thing, technical analysis, because most normal people don't even know that. There is this thing with market psychology, so you learn a lot of things that you wouldn't know before. And even though most people cannot apply it in a good way, I think most people fail in technical analysis. It's like 90+% of traders fail, even though it is the case. Still, you understand the markets more. You understand what kind of movements people are looking at, you know, and if you really want to become serious and become professional, well, now you have that opportunity. But if you just, you know, watch YouTube passively about technical analysis, I don't think that you will be successful, because it's very difficult. But at least now you know that at least there is this industry that I could be successful. So you expand your worldview and your knowledge about different things you yourself could do.
The options are limitless. It's super, super exciting. Now, I'm going to just move the conversation here a little bit a different direction yet again. Now, the Eurozone is currently at 0.5% negative rates. I understand, you know, Sweden's not a country that uses the euro, but I mean, what's your take on this happening? We've seen German banks, for example, passing that negative rate on to big depositors. So what's your kind of feeling around negative rates? What are people that you know who live in the Eurozone saying?
Yes. Well, we also have negative interest rates in Sweden, so our central bank is also at
negative interest rates.
Yes.
You guys didn't get left out of the party. That's good.
And look, the currency is getting slaughtered. It's completely, it's mind blowing. If you look at the dollar versus Swedish crown, it's complete slaughter. With euro, it is a bit different because they're trying just to save the economy. They're trying to pump it up, give it the last pump. Who knows how long they can continue for? But it is just clear that you know, something is not right. Something is absolutely not right, and unfortunately, it is the normal people that miss out, because it's all about the trickle down effect. You know, if you are a corporation, if you are a big business, you can get basically free money. It's very easy, and if you are a normal person, you work paycheck to paycheck, you're not getting any benefits. You're only getting the bad things, the bad aspects. And that is, for example, that when somebody can get a cheap loan, they now have money that they didn't exist before in the economy. They have basically got free money out of nowhere. And now they can go and buy up real estate, they can buy up stocks, assets, and basically it pushes up prices on everything. So as long as you can be close to the source of money, to the source of monetary production, which is close to the banks, if you can get those cheap loans, it's amazing for you. But if not, you just see your savings devalue and you see all asset prices skyrocketing. So I think Ray Dalio has a very interesting outlook on this. He basically compares the current events with negative interest rates with the current state of affairs in Europe and also in the US, it's coming to the US as well, with the 30s. Because in the 30s, you did see a similar thing where richer got more rich. And it's not because they pay less taxes. All politicians only focus on taxes. And the reason they do that is because they're not really looking to solve the real issue. They just, you know, they just want to become popular. So they just say, hey, rich need to pay more taxes. But that is not even the biggest thing here. The biggest thing and the biggest inequality that is happening is with low interest rates. Because because it is the wealthy people that can get even more wealthy with low interest rates, because they can get fiat, they can buy assets. Yeah, I get free fiat, I buy real estate. Then this fiat devalues even more, and I can buy even more real estate or stocks, and that gives me monthly recurring revenue. While people who work paycheck to paycheck have no chance of doing that. So I think
in fact, they're probably losing their jobs.
Yes, exactly, yeah. And all in all, it becomes very scary very quickly. But in Sweden, I don't hear any politician talk about that. People are talking about inequality all the time on like political debates, but it's all about taxes. We should increase this tax by 0.5% or decrease this tax by 0.3%. But that does look, the bigger picture is a monetary policy, and the fact that if you are connected, if you have good credit score, you get basically free money, and you push up asset prices, and you become even more wealthy. And everyone knows that. Like everyone who is educated about the economy knows that. Bitcoiners know that. Politicians know that. People who have assets know that. The regular population, unfortunately, doesn't know that. They think it's all about taxes. A bit more tax here, a bit less tax there. And that is why I also said in the tweet that Bitcoin is creating a whole new social upper class, because we're taking so many people out of ignorance, and we're educating them about how things actually work, and they can make more wise decisions in their lives. It doesn't have to be that they go all in Bitcoin. Maybe they can start thinking, okay, maybe if I get my credit score better, I can be closer to the production of money, because the system is what it is. At least you can try to use it to your advantage. It's not the best system, but until we see a new system, you better use it to your advantage than to be the one taking all the bad effects.
You need to know the rules of the game, and if you know the rules of the game and you're willing to play the game, then you can be a player in that game, whether you want to be or not. By the way, that Ray Dalio article is fantastic. There'll be a link to it in the description down below for anybody who hasn't read it.
Yes.
Now, decentralized finance. I think this really ties into really what we're talking about here. When I think about decentralized finance, I think about really just turning over the apple cart here and creating all kinds of tools that people can use that are going to be permissionless and out of the hands of the banks, essentially. So we see a lot of decentralized finance talk, particularly around Ethereum and what Ethereum's doing these days. So what are your thoughts on decentralized finance overall, the current state of decentralized finance? Do you have a favorite decentralized finance application?
I think decentralized finance can be the starting point of the new bull market, because each bull market needs some kind of narrative. It needs some kind of story that people believe in and that people get excited about. So in 2017 and 16, we had this ICO bubble because people believed that, hey, we're going to decentralize the internet. It's going to be so great with all of these new projects. And that is what made people invest. Unfortunately, it did not really play out that way. Now there is a new vision that is forming, and that is decentralized finance. The fact that we can have decentralized banking, decentralized stable coins, decentralized interest, the fact that you can lend out your funds not to a bank, not to some kind of other institution that is the middleman, but you can lend it out directly to your borrowers, and that is done through a smart contract, and you get interest on that. And it is becoming very big in my view. You see exchanges now incorporating projects such as Compound into their interfaces. I think Huobi was the last one I heard. Basically, if you have DAI on Huobi, you will be able to just stake it into Compound, and then it will be lent out, and you will get interest on your DAI. So it's not that Huobi is doing that. They only are integrating the Compound protocol. So you're not actually trusting Huobi with anything. I think that is mind-breaking. And the fact that we now in crypto have interest, that you can actually get interest on your money, that is amazing. At the same time, I think there's a lot. I mean, we're still in the very early days, and the use case for the decentralized loans is still small, because basically in most cases you need to lock in more than you are borrowing. So if I want to borrow $100, I need to lock in $150 out of Ether, and then I get $100 in DAI. So I can, for example, do leverage, because now I have $100 more and I can buy more Ether, and now I'm leveraged. Or you can do something else, but the use case is small. The use case is small. You cannot do mortgage yet. You cannot buy a house and you only put in like 15%. So until that happens, the use case is small, and the thing that needs to change is securities, that we need to tokenize assets. Because in the future, it could be the case that I can get a mortgage because I'm actually giving the smart contract my tokenized apartment or tokenized house. So there is actually a security involved. But for now, we're not there yet. But I think, as I mentioned, Compound, MakerDAO, things such as DYDX, which is decentralized derivatives, also very, very important, very interesting. So those ones are the ones that I'm looking at right now.
I think that you brought up an incredibly interesting point actually about, tokenizing apartments and stuff like this. This stuff is going to happen. It's not a question of if it's going to happen, it's a question of when it's going to happen. Yes. So we kind of go back to that earlier bit about, the new social upper class. Like if you are a real estate agent, start learning about this stuff, because this is potentially where we're going to be heading in 10 years or 15 years. And, people kind of have this feeling where like, oh, everything's going to take a really, really long time to happen. Like, look at how long it took the record industry to be killed by the cassette industry, how long it took the cassette industry to be killed by the CD industry, and how long it took the CD industry to be totally decimated by the iPod when it came out.
And Lars, sorry to interrupt you, but I just saw today this chart about how quickly iPhone killed the camera industry. It was in 5 years. They went from 100% basically at their peak to 10%. So they lost 90% in 5-7 years when smartphones became a thing. And also when you look at new technology such as crypto, it's so easy to think, hey man, it's never going to be adopted. Look, it doesn't even work. Look at this. It doesn't even, the UI is bad. Just like people are today mocking VR a bit. People say, hey, VR never gonna work. It's too clumsy. I mean, who will use it? But look, if it would be perfect today, everyone would be already using it. Everyone would already be adopting it. And there would not be any opportunities left for you to play your role, to build a business or to invest. So you understand that it is a huge opportunity when technology is still bad for the average person. That is where big opportunities are. And you need to be a bit visionary to see the future.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I remember my first computer that I had his command line, right? And, much more user friendly now, and that's great because more people came in, right? But back then, I'm sure I was too young to even be thinking about those conversations. But I'm sure people were saying, "Oh, people are never going to use this. It's far too."
Exactly.
I mean, there's those famous lines like, "Oh, computers, that's a nice novelty." Maybe 6 or something. It was like the head of I don't know, Nokia or something. It was some company back in the day. It's crazy, but yeah, it's going to be big. And I think people will either get on board or get run over by the crypto truck when it comes through town, basically. And another area that's got me super excited recently is the potential for gaming. I mean, I know decentralized finance, we're going to have all that fun stuff, but gaming's cool. I think there's a lot of cool stuff going on with gaming. So what are your thoughts on crypto and gaming coming together?
I think it's one of the biggest industries that will be disrupted by crypto. And I think we need to see new games created by the crypto community, because big companies will not really adopt it, I think, in the beginning, because they feel that it is a threat to their business model, because they don't want to have secondary market when it comes to assets. They want gamers to buy things from the game developer. Yeah. But they're missing the point that when you have a secondary market, and for example, if your smart contract does so that you get a transaction fee or some kind of portion of each transaction, you get maybe 10 times, maybe 100 times bigger market, because now it's not only your players that you have onboarded, it's also other players. Mm-hmm. At the same time, games that do have crypto will become more financial, because I mean, it's all about speculation when it comes to assets, when it comes to it's ownership, but also speculation. Let's not deny that, because as soon as you have earned some kind of asset, obviously everyone would check the price. I mean, how much does it cost? how much can I sell it for? So I think that it is amazing. Like it's natural. People love those types of games. It will be collectibles, it will be finance, and it will be gaming all in one. So I think it's going to be very exciting, because gamers need more ways to monetize their interests. And for the longest time, you couldn't even earn money as a gamer. Today you can. You can be in tournaments. I mean, I saw this 15-year-old guy from Sweden who won the Fortnite tournament. Absolutely huge. He's a millionaire now.
It's crazy.
After that. Yeah, it's crazy. But the average gamer cannot earn money. Why is that? Well, it's strange, because all players actually contribute to the game. it depends on which game, but in most games, if you are playing a game, you're actually contributing to that game. So you're kind of, I mean, you can think of it, you're kind of like a miner in many ways. If you think about what role miners are playing, they're contributing to the network with security. Well, a game doesn't necessarily need security. It needs just, players that play. So because the game is not fun without it. So you're actually giving value to the network. It's all about giving value.
That's
so if
right.
you as a player give value to the network, why aren't you rewarded? You should be able to earn a living by just playing and contributing.
Well, right now you see the gaming companies, they're capturing all the value, right? And that's the
Exactly.
business model of the past. The business model of the future is where the value is shared, at least in some way, because the people who do that, they're going to be the ones who capture the markets. The people who don't, they're going to lose market share. Now,
And it's only people. Sorry, it's only people in crypto who think that way. Normal people, they don't understand. But hey, I'm playing the game, like I'm getting something out of it. But think a bit step further. You're also contributing, because without you, this game wouldn't be as fun. Without you, it wouldn't be as interesting. So the same with social media. People are understanding more and more. But just 5 years ago, people are like, but it's free. Like I'm not, I'm actually getting value of it from it only. But no, you're actually contributing. Without you, there wouldn't be this billion-dollar companies. So it's a mindset that people have in crypto a lot, and Bitcoiners and crypto hodlers are way more educated on that than normal people.
Absolutely, absolutely. I got one more quick question for you, and then we're going to finish up the chat here. So, gaming, decentralized finance, all that stuff coming together. Can it save Ethereum?
Absolutely. I think that, speculating about the price is always, it's like the weather. Who knows? But Ethereum is very important. Look, people are saying that Ethereum is a scam. Mostly you see Bitcoin maximalists saying that. But honestly, like, try to build MakerDAO on Bitcoin. Try to build all of these other things on Bitcoin. I mean, it would be, in one way, I feel that it would be amazing if we could. It would be amazing if we, if we consolidated the entire crypto space into one blockchain that can do everything, and all the value is being concentrated. And we do not have this internal fights and internal FUD that we throw at each other because you have a coin that I don't have, and I have a coin that you don't have, and I want my coin to go up and not your coin, so I start creating FUD around your coin. If we instead had everything on Bitcoin, and it would be working amazing, so we could concentrate all our efforts towards one specific goal, it would be amazing. But it's not like that. You obviously need different blockchains for different use cases today. Maybe in the future it will be on Bitcoin. I don't know. Today you need Ethereum. No question about that.
Everyone's coins to the moon, okay? There we go. Yes. Ivan, thank you so much for coming on today. Your insights are always appreciated. So thanks so much for carving some time out of your day to come over here and chat crypto with me, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lark. Amazing being here.
Thank you.